Hello, today I'm going to talk about the Pythagorean matrix. It's also called the Psychomatrix in some aspects. It's basically a way in which we can determine the personality of someone just by their birth date. And it's really amazing how numbers can just give us this information. It's a bit different to horoscopes because with horoscopes you've got time of birth and all that sort of, all those variables. And with this one, it's just the month you're born in. So something we have to take into account is that this was done in BC time. The calculation has been altered to compensate for, BC. I don't know how, but regardless, it's still very accurate. Second of all, people born after the year 2000 have a really poor matrix, unfortunately, which might seem ridiculous, but it's just the way that this formula at current has been developed. But for the time being, anyone born after 2000 that checks the matrix, or if you're checking matrix for children in the future or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit less full than for people born in the 20th century and prior. It's assumed that this is indicating your personality and your traits at birth. You might be thinking, oh, okay, so two people born on the same day in countries on the other side of the world, so they must have the same personality. Not necessarily, because this is sort of about their nature rather than their behavior. So it depends on your socioeconomic circumstances, the culture that you live in, and DNA, all that sort of stuff. It's up to you to decide how much influence you think that this matrix has, or that any sort of nature has on people's behavior in general. So yeah. Okay, those are the things you should know first, and now let's get into it. So basically, it starts off, it's a 3x3 matrix, and they sort of correspond to the month that is represented, if that makes sense. So number one is character. The amount of ones you have in this cell represents your level of character, how strong-willed you are, or how strong your character is, basically. So Capricorns. Okay, you know this, the stereotype that Scorpios are crazy, or like they are demanding and they have a very strong character. Well, they have 1-1. So already they have more inherent ones in their matrix than other signs do. So what you've got with twos is Aquarius, basically. Aquarius, like the free spirit, quote unquote. Aquarius are pretty energetic, and you've also got Sagittarius. Number 3, you have creativity. And creativity is related to, I guess, Pisces. Pisces are the dreamers. Number 4 is health. So that's inherent with Aries. It's also recognized in some ways as beauty as well, health and beauty. And something important is that 2s and 4s in the matrix are somewhat interchangeable. So if you have some 2s, like a lot of energy, you can interchange it with health. So if you have a lot of energy and no health, that sort of already makes you healthy. You can substitute some energy for your health, and vice versa with health and energy. For the 5th cell, you have intuition or logic. And this is synonymous with Taurus, right? So Taurus think that they are correct. So people think they're stubborn. But a Taurus sees it as it's their intuition that is correct. And so intuition is associated with Taurus. 5 is how you can predict events, basically. And the logic is the logic you use in the brain to have this intuition. Number 6 is labor. It's basically how crafty you are with your hands, with physical exercise, with building, and all that sort of stuff. And number 7 is associated with Cancer. I don't know too much about Cancers, but if you think you're a lucky person, then that might come into it. I'll explain 7s later, but that's basically that. Okay, number 8 is duty. It's basically your commitment to the things that you feel responsible for, your family or your job or any sort of duties that you have in your life. And if that's synonymous with Leo, perhaps they feel some sort of pride with what they do, or they're big-hearted enough to not disregard people in need, that sort of stuff. And number 9 is memory/intellect. Just because you have lots of 9s, it doesn't mean that you are like a supercomputer. It might. But this is synonymous with Virgos. If you know Virgos, that they are analytical, they love intelligence and all that sort of critical thinking sort of stuff. So let me show you mine. So I am born on the 7th of May, 1996. And this is how the calculation is done. So As you can see in my matrix already, I have a 1 from 1996. I have a 5, a 6, a 7, and 2 9s. And so that's already the beginning. So whatever you have from your date of birth, if you are born on the 4th of April, 1994, you've already got like lots of health. So lucky you. And actually, in this matrix, Capricorn and Libra, if you are a Libra born on, let's say, the 1st of October, 1999, and a Capricorn born on the 1st of October, the 1st of January, 1999, you guys will have the same matrix, because 0, 1 for January and 10 for October is counted as just 0 plus 1 and 1 plus 0. So it both equals 1. So then what you do is you go 7 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 6. That's 37. And then you add 3 plus 7. So that's 10. So the important numbers are 37 and 10. And so then we add that to the matrix. We add the 3 and the 7. And we add the 1. The 0 is irrelevant, which is why people born in, as I said, 2000, it's pretty unfortunate. And then after that, what we do is we basically take double the first digit from my date of birth. So that's the 7th. By the way, anyone in, I think America, I'm Australian, but Americans do the month first. It's the day. So they'd have to do it from the day, not the month. But it's basically the 7th, double that is 14, and minus it from 37. So that's 23. Yeah. And then 2 plus 3 is 5. And so then you add the 2 and the 3 and the 5. And that's your total matrix. So 3, 7, 10, a 3, 7, 1, and 2, 3, 5. By the way, where I got this and where I think a very good website to get this is in Contrary, as you can see here. You can just do your numerology calculator for yourself, and as I'll show you later, you can do compatibility.